situation. In the next paragraph, we're going to see some interesting imagery here. So I want you to pay close attention to it. I'm going to stop after this paragraph and discuss it. So I'm picking up it so strangely. So strangely clouded were these refinements by the prison manners and gloom. So spectral did they become in the inappropriate squalor and misery through which they were seen, that Charles Darnay seemed to stand in a company of the dead. Ghost all. The ghost of beauty, the ghost of stateliness, the ghost of elegance, the ghost of pride, the ghost of frivolity, the ghost of wit, the ghost of youth, the ghost of age, all waiting their dismissal from the desolate shore, all turning on him eyes that were changed by the death they had died in coming here. Here in this paragraph, these prisoners become symbolic. They become representatives of certain aspects of French life. He uses the word ghost several times, the word spectral, which is another word for ghost or ghostly. You have this idea of death without dying, and we've seen that multiple times before in this story with Charles Darnay in his first trial, with Dr. Manette being recalled to life after being buried alive for 18 years. Here we have the ghost of certain aspects of French society. It's basically, these things are dead. Beauty is dead. Stateliness is dead. Elegance is dead. Pride, frivolity, wit, youth, and age. All of these things are dead, and they died by being forced into this prison. All right, I'm picking it up at it struck. It struck him motionless. The jailer standing at his side and the other jailers moving about, who would have been well enough as to appearance in the ordinary exercise of their functions, looked so extravagantly coarse contrasted with sorrowing mothers and blooming daughters who were there, with the apparitions of the coquette, the young beauty, and the mature woman delicately bred, that the inversion of all experience and likelihood which the scene of shadows presented was heightened to its utmost. Surely ghost all. Surely the long, unreal ride, some progress of disease that had brought him to these gloomy shades. In the name of the assembled companions in misfortune, said a gentleman of courtly appearance and address, coming forward, I have the honor of giving you welcome to La Force, and of condoling you on the calamity that has brought you among us. May it soon terminate happily. It would be an impertinence elsewhere, but it is not so here, to ask your name and condition. So here you have this man greeting him very courtly, very politely, very elegantly, and they're in the middle of this prison. And so you have this kind of juxtaposition of the reality of being an aristocrat, all sunk in this squalor. All right, picking up with Charles Darnay. Charles Darnay roused himself and gave the required information in words as suitable as he could. But I hope, said the gentleman, following the chief jailer with his eyes, who moved across the room, that you are not in secret. I do not understand the meaning of the term, but I have heard them say so. Ah, what a pity. We so much regret it. But take courage. Several members of our society have been in secret at first, and it has lasted but a short time. Then he added, raising his voice, I grieve to inform the society. In secret. There was a murmur of commiseration as Charles Darnay crossed the room to a grated door where the jailer awaited him, and many voices, among which the soft and compassionate voices of women were conspicuous, gave him good wishes and encouragement. He turned at the grated door to render the thanks of his heart. It closed under the jailer's hand, and the apparitions vanished from his sight forever. All right, here it doesn't say it explicitly, but all of those people that he just met, that's the last time that he sees them, because they're all going to go to the guillotine within days of his meeting them for the first time. The wicket opened on a stone staircase leading upward. When they had ascended 40 steps, the prisoner of half an hour already counted them. The jailer opened a low black door, and they passed into a solitary cell. It struck cold and damp, but was not dark. Yours, said the jailer. Why am I confined alone? How do I know? I can buy pen, ink, and paper. Such are not my orders. You will be visited, and you can ask then. At present, you may buy your food and nothing more. There were in the cell a chair, a table, and a straw mattress. As the jailer made a general inspection of these objects and of the four walls before going out, a wandering fancy wandered through the mind of the prisoners leaning against the wall opposite to him, that this jailer was so unwholesomely bloated both in face and person as to look like a man who had been drowned and filled with water. When the jailer was gone, he thought the same, wandering way. Now I am left as if I were dead. Stopping then to look down at the mattress, he turned from it with a sick feeling and thought, and here in these crawling creatures is the first condition of the body after death. So what we find out here is the mattress has fleas, and he's comparing this, just like with Dr. Manette, the being held in solitary confinement for him was a type of death. It was a type of being buried alive, and it's the same for Charles Darnay here. And he compares laying down on that mattress to the kind of the first thing that happens to the body after it is buried, is that it starts to decompose, and it's kind of gross, but, you know, bugs and things. And so here we have that. Picking up at 5 paces. I want you to notice as I read this the deterioration of Charles Darnay's mind and what starts to occur to him almost immediately upon being put into this solitary cell. 5 paces by 4.5, 5 paces by 4.5, 5 paces by 4.5. The prisoner walked to and fro in his cell, counting its measurements, and the roar of the city arose like muffled drums with a wild swell of voices added to them. He made shoes, he made shoes, he made shoes. The prisoner counted the measurement again and paced faster, to draw his mind with him from the latter repetition, the ghost that vanished when the wicket closed. There was one among them, the appearance of a lady dressed in black, who was leaning in the embrasure of a window, and she had a light shining upon her golden hair, and she looked like... Let us ride on again, for God's sake, through the illuminated village, with the people all awake. He made shoes, he made shoes, he made shoes. 5 paces by 4.5. With such scraps tossing and rolling upward from the depths of his mind, the prisoner walked faster and faster, obstinately counting and counting, and the roar of the city changed to this extent that it still rolled in like muffled drums, but with the wail of voices that he knew, in the swell that rose above him. Dr. Manette made shoes. It was the only thing that kept him sane. Charles Darnay is repeating that over and over in his head because he realizes that he is in the same situation that Dr. Manette was in, and Dr. Manette was in it for 18 years. Darnay has no way of knowing how long this is going to last. His mind is starting to fail him already. Remember earlier in this chapter, I told you to pay attention to what he's being called. He started off as the traveler, then he became the escorted, and at the end, he is nothing but the prisoner. Remembering back at the beginning of the book the first, Dr. Manette was only known by his prison number. He had completely forgotten his name for a very long time because of that. So that's where we end chapter 1 of book the 3rd. I'll pick up in another video, chapter 2 of book the 3rd. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me through RenWeb, my email, all that good stuff. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out however I can. Reading the Spark Notes on this, Googling Tale of Two Cities Spark Notes, check the summary, look it up, will also be pretty helpful for y'all. Bye!